24 hours as Trump prepares to address the nation in Arizona. Any violence is too much violence, but it hits us especially hard when it's happening to our friends and neighbors. We should be able to walk down our streets without the fear of being sprayed with bullets. We should be able to, but there are cities in the United States that have made an environment so friendly to the lawless, that we do have to fear those things. The residents in certain areas of these cities live in conditions little better than third world countries, and it's due primarily to the faulty leadership. One of those cities is under the tutelage of Rahm Emanuel. Chicago, Illinois has been racked with a crime rate that's increasing by the day, and the residents are especially horrified by what has happened there just days ago. This city, with Emanuel at the helm, has been one of the loudest and proudest sanctuary cities, meaning that illegals flock there with no intention of assimilation, and no fear of deportation or criminal prosecution. The legal citizens have been just about had enough, though, and the future of the out-of-control illegals and law-breaking leadership is in jeopardy now. In a city where crime is as commonplace as traffic jams, breaking a crime record is something to be proud of. But Chicago did it. Chi-Town has just had its most violent weekend of the year, to date. Those already in fear are looking to the president to make good on his promise to fix the crime problems that they face, due to Emanuel and others like him, as they're mourning the loss of those who were shot over the weekend. Obviously, the problem is increasing, and it's time for an intervention. Via Young Cons. Under the watch of Obama's BFF Rahm Emanuel, Chicago has descended into absolute chaos. 762 people were killed in Chicago last year. The highest homicide rate in 19 years. Sadly, it hasn't gone much better this year. In fact, more people were shot over this past weekend than any other so far this year except for the extended July 4th weekend. 63 people shot. 8 killed. The Chicago Tribune reported on the devastation that has rocked the city. More people were shot in Chicago over the weekend than on any other this year, except for the long July 4th holiday that stretched 4 days, according to police and data kept by the Chicago Tribune. At least 63 people were shot and 8 of them were killed, police said. More than half were wounded over 13 hours from Saturday to early Sunday. At least 16 more were shot through the day Sunday, including the 4 on Madison and South Austin. While the shootings occurred across the city, 2 police districts bore the brunt, Calumet on the south, with 12 shootings, and Austin on the west with 11, according to police. The level of violence exceeded the 52 shot during the 3-day Memorial Day weekend, but it fell short of the 102 hit by gunfire over the 4th of July weekend, according to Tribune data. Despite the bad weekend, fewer people have been shot in Chicago this year than at this time last year, 2,435 compared with 2,710. There have been at least 451 homicides this year, 16 fewer than this time last year, Tribune data show. Anthony Guglielmi, chief spokesman for the Chicago Police Department, said Monday that Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson was frustrated by the violent weekend. "We're doing a very deep dive today. There's still a lot of work to be done on the victimology," he said. The superintendent was frustrated this morning. "Again, this represents the culture of Chicago. We can't arrest our way out of this when the criminal justice system in Chicago is not a deterrent. It's apparent that as long as there's no real punishment for these grievous offenses, the crimes won't stop. If behavior depends on its consequences, then the criminals, especially the illegals, need to experience the consequence that their victims have been experiencing, the loss of freedoms due to things beyond your control. There's no good excuse for the drug and gang-related violence. The only thing that we can do is wait and hope that the president and his administration can enforce the law enough to both take the criminals off the streets and send those who don't belong home." Here are more details about the shootings from our source. 12 of the 63 people wounded in the weekend's attacks were shot in the Calumet district on the city's far south side. That district had only 7 people shot the entire month leading up to this weekend. The shootings included one in which 7 people were wounded when someone opened fire from a black SUV toward a crowd in a parking lot. A 33-year-old man died and 6 others between the ages of 30 and 36 were wounded. That attack, about 2:30 a.m. Sunday, happened near 119th Street and Loomis Street in the West Pullman neighborhood. Guglielmi said the deceased likely was the target of all the gunfire, and added that the man previously had been shot in 2009 and had been arrested 31 times. 3 people were shot near 101st Street and LaSalle in the Fernwood neighborhood Sunday night, where police followed a blood trail and found a gun. A 16-year-old boy, 48-year-old man and 58-year-old man were wounded in an attack that police said stemmed from a fight at a house party. Earlier in the weekend, 2 people were shot near 122nd and Green Streets. A man died of a head wound and a woman suffered leg wounds. The district has had 115 people shot this year, of the 2,435 people shot across the city. Others wounded included a 14-year-old boy grazed in the chest and left knee while he was walking with his sister and a friend just before 9:30 p.m. Friday in Pilsen. An officer-involved shooting Saturday night left a 33-year-old man with graze wounds to the head. Police said he confronted police with a gun and an officer fired. Alexander's son was shot on the west side at 11:38 p.m. Friday, outside his home in the 100 block of North Kildare Avenue while he was sitting in a car, police said. Thank you for watching this video. What do you think about this? Share this on Facebook and Twitter along with your comments.